and then when Hollywood notices them in a movie like this, they're automatically stereotyped as the bad guy. Whenever we need a bad guy from that country, we'll like rope them in to play it. So I really hope that off the back of this movie that he does get more acting roles, but he's not just typecast as the bad guy. Whereas on the flip side, Sam Heng, you can kind of see him becoming Asia's Dev Patel. Like, because he plays a likable character in this movie, you could kind of imagine that it might do for his career what Slumdog Millionaire did for Dev Patel, where suddenly you saw him playing like nice guys in Lion, nice guys in Marigold Hotel and stuff like that. So yeah, I just hope that these two do go on to bigger and better things, but they don't get typecast in the roles that they play.
Yeah, that would definitely suck. I mean, I don't think Sam Heng has any other roles in the pipeline. I'm not sure whether he's looking at furthering his education. I don't really know what his plans are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely it would really be great to see him. I'd been thinking the same thing about him maybe being like another like a Dev Patel kind of character who comes and can play like a wide variety of characters who. I mean, when Slumdog Millionaire came out, I'm listening to all these old podcasts and stuff from like 10 years ago, and when Slumdog Millionaire came out, people were thinking, oh yeah, Dev Patel, and then we're never going to hear from him ever again. And it's like, look at him now, he's one of the most recognizable actors in Hollywood. Everybody knows him.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would really like to see these actors get a lot more recognition for their part in this film. And yeah, like as you said at the beginning, it's kind of disappointing that this movie didn't really get the not just the worldwide recognition I think that it deserved, but also just within Australia itself. And I don't know whether that's because so many people didn't even really know that it was an Australian film.
Yeah.
May have thought that it was a Thai film in itself. But Rod Rafton, he's done an amazing job with this movie, and I was really, really amazed by it. The level of I guess I didn't really focus on this, but just the level of brutality that's shown by the ship's captain, and how just oppressive oppressive and horrific this life is.
Yeah.
And if like we were saying, if a character, one of the people on the ship who can't work, he's so sick he can't work, you're dead. And if you try to escape, it's even worse. And if you fight back, it's even worse than that. And it's all like the creativity of the violence that they're effecting on these slaves is just it's terrifying. And to go back to it, to think that this is all like, what are they doing? What are these people doing? They're just getting the dog food. They're just fishing for dog food. That's it.
Yeah.
So I really did enjoy this film, and I'm hoping that when it gets a proper like DVD Blu-ray release, it's open to a much wider audience that it deserves.
Yeah, and like the thing that always surprises me with these films is like, this movie came out in Australia with very little fanfare. Like, it only really showed it at art house cinemas. Big chains like Village and Hoyts didn't give it the time of day, but this movie's gone overseas and won some pretty major awards. Like, it won the Asia Pacific Screen Award for Best Youth Feature Film. It's picked up the jury prize at the Berlin International Film Festival, which is held as like one of the biggest film festivals in the world. Sam Heng won an award at the Macau Film Festival. I think, it also won Best Film from the Audience Choice. It picked up Best International Movie at the Mumbai Film Festival. It won Best New Director at the Oslo Film Festival. Like, it's picked up some really major film awards worldwide. And that's kind of like what I was saying before. Like, I kind of find it really weird the way that a movie like this one and The Nightingale can both scoop awards, but then get overlooked by the Oscars. Like, it just seems... And the really messed up part about that is, and it's something that I'm writing in an article at the moment, is a lot of people don't realize that when a movie comes from another country like Australia, Australia actually has to pick one film to go into the Oscar pool. So for people that were voting on that, they either had to pick Buoyancy or The Nightingale. They couldn't pick both of them, which to me seems really wrong, because the Oscars are supposed to be an awards ceremony that celebrates film from all around the world. But you can have as many American movies as you like nominated, but for a country like Australia, they have to pick which film. And to me, it kind of seems criminal that someone like a Sam Heng wouldn't have picked up an acting nomination, or the same for The Nightingale. Like, why did the lead actress from The Nightingale not be nominated as Best Actress at the Oscars? It seems like a really flawed system where you can have as many American movies as you like nominated, but if it comes from another country, you have to nominate which film, like, is going to be up for the chance to get an Oscar nomination. And when you consider that how much movies these days come out of France, come out of Scandinavia, the Asia Pacific region, India, places like that, it just seems really messed up that those countries still can only pick one movie to go in there. And you've also got this really thriving film industry now in Russia. Like, in the last couple of years, I've seen some amazing movies come out of Russia, and the same thing. It's like, no, you got to pick one movie. It just seems really messed up. And this is the first year I think I've really got passionately angry about it, because I thought both Buoyancy and The Nightingale deserved Oscar nominations, and we're never, if we really talk about it honestly, we're never ever going to get them.
No. It's kind of like, if you make a really great Australian film, you better hope that there's not another really great Australian film if you're looking at maybe getting an Oscar nomination down the road, because it's kind of just, it is a pity, because it seems like so many of them just get kind of swept to the side, whereas
and like, maybe it is getting better now that Parasite won an award, and they've kind of changed that stupid award, because in the past, Australia was actually nominated for Best Foreign Language Film. Like, it's in English. Like, didn't make very much sense. Now they call it Best International Film, but I would still like to see that whole thing just become one great big thing. Like, so what if there's 3 French movies that get nominated in the 1 year? Like, that, to me, that's just decent competition. Like, make America pick up its game a little bit. If you're getting movies from the Asia Pacific and you're getting movies from France getting more nominations than American films, then it's time to pick up your game a little bit. Like, yeah.
I mean, I know we're discussing this now because the Oscars just happened, but it's like, when you're talking about the performances in this, like we said, like Thanos Castro's performance in this was, as far as being a supporting actor, was miles ahead of where Brad Pitt was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And and it's not to say like he didn't deserve it. I guess just if I was going to pick between which of those 2 actors gave a better performance, it would have been Thanos Castro over Brad Pitt. But just the way that it works. No, it's there still needs to be a bit of work done as to maybe expand the how the voting system works for that particular award show.
And it's the same with Aileen Franciosi from The Nightingale as well. Like, if you had to say to me who deserved a Best Actress award between her and Renee Zellweger, I would have said her. Like, what she went through for that movie makes what Renee Zellweger went through to do Judy, like, pretty tame. But, at the end of the day, and that's the thing I think that gets people even more frustrated is, like, I walked out of both The Nightingale and walked out of Buoyancy and thought, wow, those 2 movies could be like Australia's hope at the Oscars. And then when I went away and thought about it, I thought, well, they can't be. Only one can be. And then the likelihood of of it getting a nomination is very slim anyway. Like, the only time I think we've ever seen it with Australian film was Animal Kingdom, and that was only because that movie did so well in America when it came out. Like, yeah, it's unfortunately a flawed system, and I think, yeah, really this year's been the first year where I've really sat back and gone, oh man, Buoyancy and The Nightingale were really ripped off.
Yeah, it's very, yeah, because even like Buoyancy, as you said, it's a kind of movie I wouldn't, if you hadn't seen it and hadn't told me how great it was, I probably wouldn't have gotten a chance to see it myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I think, yeah, it's a pity because there's so many great films that don't really get the recognition that they deserve.
Exactly. So I guess to sum up, what are you going to give Buoyancy out of 5?
I'm going to give this 4.5 out of 5. As I said, as for such a kind of small film, it was just, it really was effective. It really was a great, like a thrilling watch. And as I said, I don't want to say about what direction the movie goes in, but I really did like that the way that Shakra's story was presented. He really could have gone in any number of different ways.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a simple, okay, well, I know what's going to happen next. It was just the type of movie it was. It really was kind of this movie where I wasn't sure what way he was going to go with it, and any one of them would have worked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just 4.5 out of 5 for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one 5 out of 5. I don't give that mark very often, but to me this was just a brilliant film. It was one of those movies where I went and saw it twice in the cinema. I can't wait to watch it again on DVD. Just when you stop and think about the fact that this is a first-time director with 2 first-time actors in feature films, it's like, and one of them's not even trained. That to me just makes this movie even more impressive. Like, even with that aside, I love the storyline. I love the dramatic tension that this movie got. I love the cinematography out on the boats. Just an absolutely brilliant film to me, like an absolute masterpiece. So, 5 out of 5 for me. And that's it for this episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy. I gave Buoyancy 5 out of 5. Kyle gave it 4.5 out of 5. We really highly recommend this movie. Go out and check it out if you get a chance to, because it is an absolutely stunning masterpiece. But that's it for this episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy. I've been Dave G.
And I've been Kyle.
And we'll be back very, very soon with another episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy.